parent, if you want to raise confident, motivated, and successful teenagers and young adults, please pay close attention to this video, because in this video, I will share with you an 8-step protocol that literally took me more than 2 decades to discover, develop, test, and refine. That you don't have to spend 2 decades to figure this out. You can learn everything in this video and save your time, but have the results. And I will also share with you this 8-step protocol is not some quick fixes that will only give you temporary results, nothing like that. And all of the 8 steps, if you implement any of them, can actually help your kid have everlasting positive behavioral changes, such as confidence, motivation, and long-term success. So how did I know this works? I know this works because I devote my entire professional career to working with young people. And I have spent more than 2 decades serving young people, helping them accomplish their goals, dreams, and aspirations. At this point in my professional career, I served already more than 2,500 young people. And my work has been featured in lots of national and global major media publications such as TED Talk, Forbes, Glamour Magazine, Katie Couric Media, LinkedIn, Adobe, and so many other places. And I'm really excited with that. I'm really excited to share this topic with you. And all of the 8 steps are very important. Please also make sure you stay until the very end, because the last one is the most important one that can completely change your entire parenting journey. And my promise to you in this video is that this 8-step protocol can completely help you eliminate your fears and doubts in your parenting journey, but instead will empower you and empower you in terms of what to do to help you raise confident, motivated, and successful young people. If this is what you want to learn more about, please keep watching. Okay, so let's get started with the 8-step protocol. The very first one is use empowerment language. Okay, so what I mean by this is that I'm going to use 2 points to illustrate this main point. The first one is shaming doesn't work. And I'm going to explain this to you why shaming doesn't work. And also, all of the 8 protocols are developed as a result of me working with young people. And oftentimes, when parents, we want our children to change, but also a big part to facilitate our children's transformation is parents, that we have to also change the way we talk, the way that we influence, the way that we parent our children. So this is really the overall context behind this training. So as parents, one change we must understand and make is to really understand that shaming doesn't work. And I'm going to use a really powerful concept to explain this to you. So what you see on the screen is something called emotion frequency chart. Okay, so just like the radio station, every time when you turn on a station, there are different frequencies for each station. And so this the same thing. So scientists, they studied emotional different frequencies for our emotion. So I actually have a separate video that really went a lot deeper regarding this. So I will link the video to here. If you are interested in learning more about this, check it out. But here, you can see the bottom, this emotional frequency chart from the lowest frequency to the highest. The lowest one is here, shame. So the energy corresponding to shame is here, contraction. So what is contraction? Contraction is, look at my physiology, is shrinking, is playing small, is hiding. Right? So the more we shame our children, again, there's no judgment here. I know how hard it is to be a parent. That's why you are here to learn. So the more we shame our children, the bottom of the emotional frequency, the more that our children are going to contract. And the more they contract, the less likely they are to take positive changes, the less likely they are to transform their life. Because when you look at the emotional frequency chart, the lowest one is shame, and here that is contraction. So here, this is expansion. So at least you have to reach the frequency of acceptance. If you cannot even accept where you are regarding the challenges you have or regarding the challenges that your children have, transformation is not going to happen. So in my one-on-one coaching program, when a student just joins my coaching program, a big part that I help every single young person in my coaching program is to remove the shame. And this is literally what I teach the parents in my coaching program, why shaming doesn't work. Or you can ask yourself, if you have ever shamed your children, does it work? Has it been working for you? Trust me, I'm guilty of this myself because I'm a human. Even though I know this, sometimes it is hard. You're such a disappointment, right? I'm so mad at you. Why can't you get this correct, right? Especially when we are emotionally charged, when we are emotionally triggered, we want to say things and that give us that temporary release, but we will quickly regret like 10 minutes or an hour later, okay? So that is the first reason shaming doesn't work. So what does work? That is the empowerment language. And let me explain this to you through another really powerful concept called 3 circles of change. So the 3 circles of change is a really good concept I learned from this book. I will link the book in the description box in case you want to check it out. So in this book, and the author introduced this concept. Now you can see I made lots of notes regarding this book. So this is what you see here is called the 3 circles of change. Let me quickly explain this to you. And so the outer circle is outcome, and then the middle here is called process, and the inner circle is identity. Okay, so outcome, process, and identity. So let me say this, the highest level of change is at the identity level. Okay, let me give you an example. For example, this is a common challenge that many parents run into, right? Especially for boys. Hey, can you please clean up your room? Your room is always so messy and you have dirty socks everywhere. This is so annoying. Please clean up, right? If you have a teenager, you know what I'm talking about. So oftentimes when parents ask our children to clean up, which circle are we talking about? We are talking about the outcome, right? The outer circle. So this doesn't really work because yes, your kid can clean up right now, but 3 days later, everything will be messy again. So a better way to ensure a clean room is that you look at the second circle, which is process. What this means is that you actually create systems and processes to ensure a clean house, to ensure the outcome. And so here, right, so the middle circle here, what you can do is that you have a dirty basket here, you have a bookshelf here, you create systems and processes to ensure the house is always clean. Every time when you have a dirty sock, put it here. Every time when this happens, put it there. So you are relying on the system to make the outcome possible. And that is still not the best level. The highest level to ensure a clean room is at the identity level. So what this means is that if you can find a coach like myself, or if you can do this, you want to shift your children at the identity level. So if your kid can see him or herself as a very clean, very organized, very neat person, and cleaning up will be a natural byproduct as a result of the identity, right? If I'm a neat person, what do neat people do? They clean up. If I see myself as a very organized person, what do organized people do? They clean up after, they at least they clean up their room. Like, for me, I see myself as a lifelong learner. That is me at my identity level. So what do lifelong learners do? We learn. That's why I always invest in coaching programs. Even right now, this is after my master's degree, after my PhD, I'm still investing in learning. And I read at least 2 books every single month because this is how I see myself. This identity is inspiring me to actually have positive behavioral changes, right? So the problem that many parents make is that they're only looking at the outer circle without working on the identity. And this is where I believe, working with a coach can be really powerful, especially coaches like myself, really have inside out deep level shifts, right? So how can this be applied to raising confident, motivated, and successful people? So one language, I hear in terms of motivation, I hear from parents a lot is that, oh, my kid is so lazy. This is what I hear when I work with young people during our one-on-one coaching call. Oftentimes, a young person will tell me, hey, Dr. I, you know what? I'm just very lazy. Hey, Dr. I, I'm just a procrastinator. So those are I am are really powerful identity declarations. If a young person is seeing him or herself as a lazy person at an identity level, what do lazy people do? They do nothing, right? They are just being lazy. So you can see from this example here, the more that you are saying that, oh, my kid is so lazy, my kid is such a procrastinator, the more you are reinforcing an identity and therefore actions that you do not want to see in your children. So what can you do instead is that, hey, my kid, you are becoming more and more motivated. You are becoming more and more honest. You are becoming more and more positive. So you are calling out the superhero identity, the positive changes that you want to see more of in your kid, right? So when a young person is to work with me, I'm like, let's get rid of this type of disempowering language. Let's speak with the empowerment language. Hold on, sorry, I'm going to drink some water. I hope you don't mind. So we need to get rid of this disempowering language, right? Like if a young person says, I'm a procrastinator, yeah. If you see yourself as a procrastinator, what do? You procrastinate. Change this, right? And use empowerment language. So that is protocol number 1. The second protocol is So the second one for you, for parent, if you want to raise confident, motivated, and successful people, is that you must model the positive behavioral change that you want to see in your children. Whatever you want to see in your kid, you also have to be that change. You also have to model the change that you want to see in your kid. Okay, again, I'll use 2 points to illustrate this main point. The very first concept is very important. So please write down this, pause my video. So this one is collective identity can always override individual identity. Collective identity can always override individual identity. If you can really understand this, your parenting journey will be so much easier. So what I mean by this is that collective identity, as a whole family, we love reading books. So if you can really model that as a whole family, meaning you and your partner, or maybe your grandparents or relatives, as a whole family, we love reading books. So this collective identity can always override an individual identity in your kid if your kid doesn't enjoy reading books. This is the case in my family. My husband is a book lover. I'm also a book lover. Even though he and we read completely different types of books, but we love reading books. I read about you. My husband reads even more than me. Okay, so we have that collective identity in our family. Therefore, our children love reading books, right? So as a whole family, that we do not have smartphones on our dinner table. When it is dinner time, it is dinner time. So even though an individual identity for my kid might be that, yeah, I want to bring my phone with me all the time. But because we have this collective identity can always override that individual identity. Okay, so if you want to have positive changes in your kid, confidence, motivation, and success, what are some collective identities that you and your partner can co-create and implement on a daily basis and leverage that, meaning the collective identity, to influence your kid to do more of the same? And so I will also share another concept that I have they have a story. You know what? Let me share this story with you first, and then I will tell you this. So in terms of this collective identity, so I remember one time I had a conversation with a mom, and she came to me because her kid is very much addicted to social media, video games, like a lot. And so the excuse the son uses is that, Mom, you are always on your phone. Why can't I be on my phone? Because you are always on the phone. The mom is like, yes, I can be on the phone because I'm your mom. I'm like 50, 60 plus years old. I can be on my phone, but you are younger. You cannot. So this type of language is not going to work for teenagers and young adults. They look up to you as their role model. So get rid of your double standard, right? Whatever you want your children to do, you must model this behavior in yourself. And this is what I did when I was a college professor. Everything I asked my students to do, I will be that first person to do this myself. And even to this day, everything I ask the students in my coaching program, hey, listen, you guys need to step outside your comfort zone. And I do the same as their coach. Every quarter, I give myself a challenge to step outside my comfort zone. So I walk my talk. Are you walking your talk? Whatever you are asking your kid to do, are you doing the same? If you are not doing the same, can I be honest with you? So stop asking your children to do something that you yourself can't even do. Tough love here. So let me talk about the second point, positive spillover versus negative spillover. And this is also a very important concept related to this. So here is a research article. The title of the research article is here. You can read that. It's very hard for me to read. You can see the title here. So this is based on research conducted by a group of professors from Northwestern University. So what they did in this article is that they studied two concepts called positive spillover versus negative spillover. So what this means is that, so they want to study how the environment is influencing us. So they discovered in this article, in this research, when a person is sitting next to a very productive person, and this person becomes a lot more productive. There is a specific percentage, I forgot, 20% or 30%, okay? And on the other hand, if you are sitting next to a negative, unproductive, toxic person, you actually become toxic without even socializing with the person. And I think in this article, even mentioned that if you have a toxic person in the building, the entire floor can be affected. Not just the person sitting next to this person, but the entire floor can be affected by this toxic person. That is pretty crazy, right? So positive spillover and negative spillover. So again, going back to you, in your home, right? Can your collective identity, do you guys have a positive spillover for your kid or negative spillover for your kid, right? So we homeschool our children. I have 3 boys. So in my home, every time when I work, I invite my children to sit next to me. I'm really good at focusing. I really do my work. And so I always invite my children to sit next to me so that they can take advantage of the positive spillover. So can you create this for your children, even if you do not homeschool your children, right? So maybe at school, they have more so a negative spillover, but they are still spending hours at home. When they come back home, are they closing the door, like isolating him or herself in their room? Can you do something about it so that they can have your positive spillover? So this is the second one, both of those points. So the point here is that you want to model the positive change you want to see in your kid. Okay, collective identity and create that positive spillover. And I will link the article to the description box in case you are interested in checking it out. I hope you are enjoying this. If you are loving it, comment, like, and subscribe, and share something with me. Okay. So the third protocol is something I learned from parenting and the brain expert. His name is Dr. Daniel Amen. So he recommended this exercise, which I really love. And it is so simple that I think almost all of us can do this, which is daily quality time with our children without having any agenda. Okay. So as a mom, I think maybe you can relate or maybe you cannot. So I always love, I want to turn every single moment into a lesson for our kid. Hey, what's the lesson there, right? So I have to work on this myself, like just really enjoy quality time with my children without having any agenda, right? And without having any distraction, meaning that you put away your phone, your computer, or whatever you use. Just choose an activity that your kid is interested in doing and spend 20 minutes maybe playing a game, a board game, reading a book, or talking, or whatever, taking a walk, physical activity, 20 minutes engaging in the activity that your kid wants to do, not the parent that your kid wants to do. And the key is that without having any agenda, okay? So if you can implement this for only 30 days, and according to Dr. Daniel Amen, you are going to see like incredible changes. And I have to say, I really enjoy this because we homeschool and we have lots of time that we can spend with our kids. And it's definitely made a difference in terms of the quality of our relationship. Okay, so let me turn to the second page to share with you protocol number 4. Okay, sorry. So here and here. So number 4 is really important. In case I lost you, please pay close attention right now. Okay, so number 4 is, this is such a common mistake that I see in parents a lot. Okay, so do not be afraid to exercise your authority. If you want to raise confident, motivated, and successful teenagers and young adults, parent, listen up. Please do not be afraid to use your authority. Okay? And so let me explain this. So this point is based on 5 decades of research. So here, right? So love without any limitations, without any rules, is very toxic. It's not good for our children. In fact, love without any limitation is actually dangerous for our children. Okay, so research. There are 4 styles of parenting, which include authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and neglectful. Okay, so let me quickly explain each of them. Authoritarian parenting is that do this. Why? Because I said so, right? Very like extremely high standard and kind of very extremely high standard. Parents can never be happy. Very like, hey, just always listen to me. I'm the rule. And so that is not good. I myself have, this is kind of the style that my parents use, not very effective. So the second one is authoritative. This is the best. Authoritative, meaning that you actually have rules, have policies, have expectations in the house, but you are also loving, you are also compassionate, you are also kind. You do not shame, you do not belittle, but you enforce limitations, rules, policies in the house, but in a loving, kind manner. You are firm, you are also kind. Okay, that is authoritative. This is what we do. I'm still working on this. I definitely don't want to say I'm perfect, but I have become a lot better. So this is the parenting style that me and my husband will implement in our house. And the third one is permissive. This is actually very dangerous. Over the last several years, permissive parenting has become more and more popular. There's so much research about this, and even gentle parenting, you can look it up. And so this is what I believe, okay? And so as parent, our goal is to be the parent. Our goal is now to be our children's friends, right? Because why? If you are a friend, what do friends do? They are enablers, right? Like imagine you are my friend. Hey, doctor, I really want to have a cake for dinner. I'm like, yeah, go for it. No problem. Hey, I really want to have ice cream for lunch. Yes, go for it. I want to have another ice cream. Yes, no problem, because I'm your friend. I love you. I support you. That's what friends do. But you are the parent, especially if you have a young kid who is under 25 years old. I think that's probably most of you watching my video. Your children, their thinking brain, the part of the brain that is making rational decisions, good decisions, is not fully developed until your kid is 20 or 25 years old. So we cannot trust our children. Because if we let them to do whatever they want to do, they will literally have ice cream for lunch, breakfast, and dinner, 3 meals a day. Right? That is what a friend will do. But we're not their friends. We are their parent. So I see this in my coaching program all the time. So in my coaching program, I mostly work with young people, but I also provide coaching support for parents. So oftentimes a parent like you, if you are interested in working with me, having your kid work with me as their coach, there is a link in the description box that you can apply to book a complimentary consultation. So after you apply, if your application is approved, you and I will have a conversation and you will tell me regarding the challenges, your hopes and dreams for your kid. So let's say after you and I have the conversation, I'm like, okay, sounds great. I can definitely help. And then the second step is that I will actually do a conversational interview with the kid. So many parents, they will actually struggle to get their kid to have that very first initial conversation with me because they are so afraid of their kid. Again, there's no judgment. Please understand. Okay, I'm just presenting a point because they're so afraid of their kid. Permissive parenting does not work. In fact, actually that is the reason. And I, again, not here to be judgmental, but the parents who are very permissive, I do not work with this type of parents because changing a person is very, very hard, right? If a parent is so afraid to exercise his or her authority, behavioral change in a young person is almost impossible because your kid will never ever come to their own realization. One day they wake up, hey, I want to do something. I want to completely reclaim my life. I want to completely stop video games. I want to completely turn my life around. They don't know how to do that. So there has to be that external pressure, right? And in fact, research has shown permissive parenting, children who grow up with permissive parenting, they actually have more mental health challenges like personality disorder, anxiety, depression than children who grew up with authoritative parenting. Think about it. So the last one is neglectful, and this I do not run into a lot. And those are the parents who completely ignore their children. I feel like this is definitely the minority, right? So do not, if you want to raise confident, motivated, and successful young people, do not be afraid to exercise your authority because your kid will need it to have those positive qualities in them, okay, for a long time. So that is the protocol number 4. Are you ready for number 5? I hope you are. So number 5 is that as parents, we must normalize challenges, struggles, and hardships. What I mean by that is that when our children are in a challenging situation, we should not freak out. Oh my God, what do I do? My kid is having a hard time. We don't freak out because if we are freaking out, negative spillover, right? So we are projecting our own fear to our children. Don't do that. So you must have a healthy relationship with the challenges in life. And please watch this video. I have so many videos on my YouTube channel to talk about why, as parents, we must normalize failures, rejections, and hardships in life. So check them out. You must understand challenges and struggles are actually positive, okay? Positive are actually positive signals of your children trying something new. It doesn't mean they're stupid. It only means they are learning something new and they have a gap in either their skills or their mindset. That's why they are having this struggle. It doesn't mean your kid is broken. It doesn't mean your kid is stupid. Nothing like that. It simply means, number 1, your kid is trying something new. Number 2, they have a gap in their skills or mindset. Okay, and that is number 1. And number 2 is that as much as we love our children, we should not be the people to remove the challenges for our children. Again, I see this a lot in parents. My husband sometimes, all of us, hey, let me do this for you. Oh, this is too hard. Let's try an easier project. This is too hard. Let me do this, right? I need to talk to my teacher, but I'm really afraid to talk to my teacher. Let me handle this for you. Let me take care of this for you. But guess what? If you are removing all the challenges for your teenager or young adult, who end up developing resilience, communication skills, building their characters? You, not your children. So stop stealing those precious opportunities from your children to grow, right? So don't be a thief, right? So not removing challenges, okay? That is protocol number 5. Number 6, are you ready for number 6? And number 6 and number 5 really go hand in hand, okay? So just because I mentioned that as parents, we must normalize hardships in life, this doesn't mean that we should really allow our children to struggle for extended period of time on their own. No, nothing like that, okay? So what I do means that support, not rescue. Support, not rescue, meaning that let me do this for you. We don't need to rescue our children, but we need to support their children. And in fact, I did a long video here talking about how smart parents who have raised successful, confident, and motivated young people, how they make decisions. Please definitely check out that video. I will share with you one thing. They are different is that they actually understand the cost of inaction, meaning that they ask a different question. Every time when they are about to make a decision, they actually ask, instead of asking, how much does this program cost me? They will ask a very powerful question. Please pay attention. So the question they ask is, how much will my inaction regarding my children's challenges cost me, my family, and my kid, long-term speaking? So they really understand the cost of inaction. So they do not remove the struggles, but they also, or you should also not allow your children to struggle for an infinite amount of time on their own. That is a recipe for disaster. So provide support and understand the cost of inaction so that your kid can close the gaps. Remember what I said earlier. Challenges, struggles, hardships in life, they are actually positive signals of a gap. Positive signals of your children trying something new, and positive signals of a gap in terms of either the skills or in terms of their mindset. So how can you provide support? I'm biased, and I think the best support is that you find a coach like myself, right? And a simple analogy here is that if your kid plays any type of sport, like swimming, running, soccer, basketball, fencing, whatever they do, piano is not really sport, or even musical instrument, and you will need to find a good coach so that your kid can close the gaps, right? So the same thing here. Understand, if I allow my kid to struggle infinitely on his or her own for a long time, my inaction, my lack of support will actually cost my entire family a lot more, right? So they really, really understand that. Therefore, they are really leveraging the challenges and struggles and transforming their children through the challenges and struggles into a more confident, a more resilient, a more courageous person as a result of the struggles, actually building their characters. So therefore, something negative is transformed into something positive. This is protocol number 6. Okay, 6 and 5 really go hand in hand. Are you ready for number 7? I hope you are. Are you loving this? Are you enjoying this? Give me something, okay, in the chat box. And number 7 is parent. I say this from my heart. You must invest in your own learning. Okay? And this goes back to point number 2, be the change that you want to see in your children. If you want your kid to be a lifelong learner, guess what? You have to be a lifelong learner too. If you want your children to love reading books, guess what? I have bad news for you. You have to love reading books too. You have to, at least during the time when your children are at home. You have to. And so I actually have a really powerful concept I want to share with you. And this is also what I share with the young people in my coaching program. So here, I talked about my planner quite a lot. So this is the planner that I created for the young people in my coaching program. It is a really powerful process. So the planner is divided into 4 quarters. So every quarter, I will actually do a quarterly reflection and review with every single student in my coaching program, because I believe transformation happens as a result of reflection. And so let me share with you. So one really powerful tool that I use to help my student do reflection is called this concept here. So you can see here, this is a quarterly review page. We do some reflection, some planning, and this is a map or like a wheel that I created. This is like self-assessment. So you can see from this self-assessment is divided into 8 different sections. So the 8 slices represent life and 8 areas in life, right? So can you, as parents, so let me read them to you. So the 8 categories are spirituality, business/career, education, health, relationships, personal growth, fun, recreation, finances, and spirituality. So when you can take a screenshot of this and do a self-assessment out of the 8 slices of life. Which area is your strongest and which area is your weakest? And are you going to do something about it? So that you can model, right? Wow, look at mommy, look at daddy. They're so hungry for transformation. They're so hungry for change. And that is how I show up in my family. My children love learning. Why? Because of that positive spillover I share with you. Because I love learning. Like if I'm not learning, I'm dying. If I'm not growing, I'm dying. And I'm not even exaggerating. Maybe I'm more extreme. But that's really how I see myself. I genuinely love learning. And also because I love what I do, in case you couldn't tell. I love serving those young people, right? So for you, instead of investing all of your attention, constantly being that helicopter parent, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Like all over your kid, adding so much unnecessary pressure for your kid. Let me tell you, the more you do that, the less confidence, the less motivation, the less success your kid is going to have. So you are going to have much more ROI, return on investment, in terms of your time, energy, and effort if you can actually spend some time trying to improve yourself, right? Select one area from the 8 categories to, hey, what can I learn? So in my coaching program, I have a triangle. Like I always share with my students, life has different phases. The bottom is trying to survive. The next level is doing good, like kind of stable. Third level, great, from good to great. And the highest level is mastery. Right? So what are some areas in your life that you have not yet achieved mastery? Maybe you are at the surviving, or maybe you are at the stabilizing, or maybe you are at the good level. So can you invest in coaching support, mindset support, skill support to close the gap for yourself so that you can move up from one level to another level and be the inspiration for your own kid and have that positive spillover, right? And so this is this. And are you ready for the last one? And I share with you at the beginning of this video, I said the last one is the most important one. And it really is the most important one. In case I lost you already, please come back and pay attention to this, okay? It is really the most important one. Bum, 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 bum. Here, I want to make sure you can see this. The most important one is, oh, I'm sorry, you have a hard time seeing. Here. So what I have here is that as parents, we are responsible for our own happiness. In other words, we must take ownership of our own happiness. You must take ownership of your own happiness. You are responsible for your own happiness, not your children. There's one of my favorite saying. One of my favorite sayings is that the best gift, please, this is so good. I think I read it in a book or listened to a podcast. I don't know. The best gift a parent can give to their own children is their own happiness. The best gift a parent can give to their kid is their own happiness. So stop relying on your own children as your source of happiness. That is toxic love. And I say this with love because I myself grew up in such an environment, and I have no doubt that my parents love me so much. But for so many years that my parents, maybe even to this day, that they are relying on me to make them happy. And guess what? The only person can make you happy is you. The more we're relying on our children, and I cannot tell you how many students have told me, Dr. I, my mom, my dad, their love is so toxic. They are giving me so much pressure. No, your children are not responsible for your happiness. Yes, of course, you should be happy for them. They accomplished something, they did something good, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and having family vacations. You should be proud. You should love them. You should share their happiness, share their joys, but do all of that. I'm not saying you should not do that. Do all of that. That is what a good parent would do. But your children are not responsible for your happiness. Have a life, right? And figure out, my work is my happiness. My work brings me so much joy, love. And my children, they also make me happy. They make me frustrated. They make me sad. But they are not my source. I'm my own source. We have that intimate connection, but they are not responsible for important emotional needs of me. I am responsible for my happiness. Okay, so take ownership. If you want to have confident, successful, motivated teenagers and young adults who have long-term success, not just school success, but long-term success, here's my advice for you. Be responsible for your own happiness. When your kid can see that, believe me, they are also going to be inspired to find their own happiness in their own way. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this 8-step protocol, and let me know in the comment section which one is actually your favorite. And I really enjoyed. Those are the principles that I discovered over the last 2 decades. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are interested in having your kid work with me one-on-one to help them overcome procrastination, overcome self-doubt, overcome self-insecurity, reclaim their confidence, reclaim their motivation, overcome screen addiction. So in the description box, and there is a link for you to apply to book a complimentary consultation with me. If your application is approved, as I mentioned earlier, I will invite you to do a Zoom chat with me, and then free of charge. Then if I can help you, I will also have a separate conversation, also free of charge, because we only enroll people that I know for sure that I can help this person, okay? And I'll have a separate conversation with your kid, okay? And also, so use the link in the description box. I'm also very excited. In case you missed my announcement, I have an upcoming challenge. And what is something very unique about this challenge? This is not a group challenge, a group live training, a group masterclass. This is a 5-day one-on-one live training or live challenge with me. You and we are also going to invite your kid to join us during this challenge. We are going to spend 5 days together to help you and your kid tackle or overcome a specific challenge facing you or your kid. And because this is one-on-one, and I can really customize the content to really help your kids so that you guys can have an immediate transformation during the 5-day challenge. Like literally 5 years compressed into 5 days. Really powerful. I have never ever offered this before. This is my very first time. I'm really excited. Spots are really limited. We already have lots of parents doing this. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this, especially at the free level. So definitely take advantage of this. And because I truly believe in this day and age, in 2025 and beyond, and most parents and young people do not struggle with the lack of information. You struggle, you suffer as a result of information overload. So the 5-day one-on-one challenge with me is that I can really simplify. A true expert in the 21st century is someone who can simplify information, not giving you so much, but actually simplify. And that is exactly what we're going to do in the one-on-one challenge. I'm going to simplify. I have a big toolbox, an A to Z, but I'm going to select relevant tools to help you and your kid based on their unique challenge. This is the best level, the highest level, highest possible level I can serve you and your kid absolutely for free. And so take advantage of that. Again, in the description, there's a link for you to register for this. Once you register and when you go to the second page, you can select a day that will work for you. So we don't have to worry about 20, 50 people's schedule. We only need to worry about your schedule and my schedule. You can't get any better than that. Okay, so I'm really excited. As I mentioned, and I'm going to have this video here. And I think you will enjoy this video. So in this video, I discuss 11. And that also definitely check out the videos I mentioned throughout this entire training, which is also linked in the description box. But also check out this training. In this training, I share with you 11 differences in terms of skills and mindset required to succeed in school versus succeeding in real life. Those 11 differences are what I discovered after doing this work for more than 20 years. Those differences were what I wish I knew when I were your children's age. And let me say this, the sooner your kid can understand the differences required to succeed in school versus succeeding in real life, the better prepared your kid will be for real life success. I think that is the goal for most parents, not doing school for the sake of schooling, but using school as a vehicle to grow your children so that they can have real life success. So check that out and let me know what you think. And last but not least, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Let me know if there are topics you want me to discuss. Share with me in the description box. Thank you so much. Bye.